Good evening, fuckers. We are back with the next Train Simulator Classic request video, and this one is it's certainly a bit of a strange one, because this involves me driving a train, well, train in inverted commas, that I would normally avoid like the plague. Anyway, we'll come to that in just a sec. We'll start with the route, as always. So the route, we are on the North East England freeware route DLC, and we're doing a route that I was supposed to do some time ago. Some of you may have seen the video I did in the Class 60, still the only video to have featured the Class 60, and in that video we took said Class 60 to T's yard. Now, yeah, that was a fuck up on my part. It was supposed to go to T's dock, not T's yard. So this time we are definitely going to T's dock, and we are starting in York North Yard. And as for the train, it is a Class 20. Now, that's not the reason why I would avoid it. I really like the Class 20s, and I really like this one because by now I think it's quite well known, well, among people who watch my videos anyway, that I really like the GBRf livery. And that is the livery that our Class 20 has for this run. But this is a light engine. So for those of you who are not in the know, light engine means it is just the locomotive. It's not actually a train as such. We are not pulling anything. So I came up with my own kind of like scenario for this. T's dock has had a bit of a disaster, and a couple of their trains have broken down and they need replacement ones a bit lively. One is already on its way, and we are bringing the other. Somehow I doubt that a Class 20 was quite what they had in mind as far as getting replacement freight locos to T's dock, but nevertheless that's all we could spare. So yeah, they've got a Class 20 on its way. We'll say the other one on its way is a Class 66. Nearly always is. So as far as the specifics, it is spring, it is overcast, and it is 9:30 AM. So let's get this up and running. And here we are. So T's dock is 54.5 miles away. It's not exactly close by, but nevertheless, needs must and all that. So here is our Class 20 in the GBRf, Great British Railways freight livery. I love this livery. This is only the second loco that I have with this livery. The first one being the Class 47 with its very fictional one. Now, a bit of setting up to do. So it's very overcast out there, so we are going to put on an awful lot of lights, including the cab light. So yeah, plenty of lights on. Somehow I doubt that would be considered acceptable, but there you go. These lights that are not on, they are tail lights. I mean, I could put them on, but it would look utterly ridiculous then. Now, this is the Just Trains version of the Class 20, not the Dovetail Games one. And there is an extra step that you need to take in order to get this thing moving, and it's round here. We need to set the AWS, because when you first start, the AWS is isolated. So now, yeah, would if I put the master key in, wouldn't it? So now we should be able to set the brakes, yep, and be able to get underway. So brakes are coming down, and we can start moving. Now, of course, being a light engine, the acceleration is fantastic, but being a light engine, it's not as straightforward as some may think. It's not just a case of, oh well, we can absolutely fly along and get there in no time. I mean, yeah, certainly our acceleration will be fantastic. Our braking will not be, that is for sure. And also, okay, we've got no weight holding us back as far as getting to our top speed. But you've got to be pretty careful, especially when you're going over curves. We're now into a 50 zone. Because when going around curves, the loco actually uses the weight of the train that it is pulling in order to sort of keep itself planted down on the rails. But of course, we don't have any train that we are pulling behind us. We do not have that extra weight, so we've got to be pretty careful when we are approaching curves, and also when it comes to braking for slower sections like this 30 mph section that we are coming up to. So yeah, a light engine does not make this an absolute breeze. That said, the only reason that I decided to drive this as a light engine is that I was absolutely determined to have this livery Class 20 in a video. But because of the sheer amount of DLC that I have, my game is not the most stable, especially when it comes to creating custom consists. And I have at best a 50-50 chance of the custom consist feature actually starting up. I say 50-50, I mean that, yeah, at the very best. More often than not though, the game just crashes the desktop. And that means that, yeah, I have a real hard time when it comes to creating any custom consists of any kind. So if I could have come up with, you know, an actual freight train for this, believe me, I would have done. But I couldn't. There are consists already there for the Just Trains Class 20. But unfortunately, when it comes to the ones that use the GBRf livery, it's this or nothing. In fact, there are two GBR freight liveries. This one and the second one, which has no consists of any kind. So I do need to sort that out and get the ability to make me custom consists back up and running as it should be. Because there are several trains that I want to make consists for. So, I mean, you can see our acceleration rate, we're only on 47% throttle. I think it's very unlikely that I will need to go into full throttle at any point on this run. Yeah, the acceleration rate is absolutely fantastic with no weight to, you know, slow us down. And that's when, yeah, driving a light engine sort of lures people into a false sense of security, or lulls people into a false sense of security, and yeah, they end up then trying to take a relatively tight curve at full speed, and off they come. So the Class 20 Loco got off to somewhat of a rather inauspicious start. So they first entered production in 1957, and they are a Type 1. They are somewhat light, only 70 tons. Being a Type 1, they are not hugely powerful. They have a 1,000 brake horsepower engine. And not long after they were introduced, the roles that they were brought in for started getting taken over by the likes of, you know, road travel and what have you. And it was felt that the Class 20's days were numbered very quickly, and they stopped producing them in I think it was 1958. In fact, I think I might have got the dates wrong. No, it was, yeah, 1957 they started. It was like 1958, maybe early 59 when they stopped producing them. And by that time, a lot of them were just sitting around really not doing a great deal. And then, for reasons I'm not entirely certain of, they required a Class 20 to do some like freight duty, and it was struggling, really struggling. So they made it a double header, and that totally revolutionised the Class 20 when they saw how good these things ran as double headers. Got a bit of shakes going on there. You really do not want that in a light engine. I'll also point out here, it shouldn't need pointing out, but yeah, there's no stops along the way. So anyway, yes, double-headed Class 20s, and suddenly they were really in demand, so much so that production of them started again. I think it was about 1962, and production lasted another 4 years. So these things were suddenly all over the place. There was over 250 of them actually built. And the truly amazing thing that shows the longevity of these locos is the fact that they are still being used to this day. So they clearly do something right. And not just right, they do it really, really well. So despite the fact that it did get off to a few sort of like issues when they were first built, not least the original driving position, which was it's not going to let us change driving position, I think, at the moment. Oh, actually, yeah, here we go. So the original driving position was this, And yeah, because the train was designed, and let's face it, it pretty much was a juggernaut version of the Class 08 shunter. Yeah, it had the same driving position as an 08 shunter, and it meant that the driver pretty much couldn't see a fucking thing. But then, yeah, they had the brainwave of driving it effectively in reverse and put a couple of windows in the front and the sides, and wallop, the thing was, yeah, just transformed. So like I said at the start, this is not the Dovetail Games Class 20, this is the Just Trains Class 20. I think they've done a great job of it. I mean, it's an old loco. Like I said, this was, you know, they entered production in 1957. So, you know, you're not going to get all of the latest and greatest equipment in here. But the audio, I think, is fantastic. Done a really good job of the audio. And visually, there is no mistaking that, yeah, you are indeed in the cab of a Class 20. And rather like the Class 313 in the previous video, when you first load this one up and you're trying to get underway, it is a bit of a pain in the arse, because yeah, a lot of people won't realise about this AWS isolation part here. So even though it's, to me, it barely qualifies, but it is considered an advanced loco DLC. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the Just Trains loco DLCs have this advanced sort of label stuck to them. I've got several of them. I've got the 220, 221, 222. They're all considered advanced. This one, obviously, I've also got the Class 60 advanced. That will no doubt make an appearance in a video fairly soon. So the only Just Trains loco DLC that I have that is not considered a advanced is the Class 40. I'm quite okay with that. I do like the Class 40, and I do like to be able to just jump in a train and off you go. So you're really having no problems at all here so far. It does help that a lot of this run has been nice and straight. I mean, bearing in mind where we are currently on the East Coast Main Line, and so much of the East Coast Main Line is pretty much a straight line. But once we turn off here and start making our way to Tees Dock itself, which I'm assuming is in and around Middlesbrough, yeah, things might change there. Now, something else that this Class 20 comes with, in fact there's a couple of things that are particularly noteworthy that it comes with. I'm sure everybody who is old enough to remember the leaves on the line incident that was causing delays on trains and that. I think it was still rail track at the time. They put together this sort of rail cleaning device, and then we got the it was the wrong kind of leaves excuse when it didn't work properly. Well, that rail cleaning device is included with the Class 20. And I'm sure everyone will remember, well, everyone who is of a particular vintage anyway, will remember the demonstration of the nuclear flask. You know, where they took a Class 46 and smashed it into one to prove that yeah, it couldn't be damaged and there was no risk of any of the nuclear material escaping from it. Well, the nuclear flask is also included with this, so you've got potential for a couple of quite interesting consists if your version of this game actually lets you do that without just crashing the desktop. So we're still making decent time. .47% throttle is the highest amount of throttle that I have put on this thing at any point in this run, and I really do not feel it necessary for me to go any higher than that. Very industrial sounding horn on that thing. It does sound pretty good. So even with 9% throttle, speed still increases. So trying to actually maintain a constant speed, I think, is out of it as far as this loco is concerned. Once we're at T's dock, we need to get ourselves into position. You can clearly see siding 1, and then that is where, well, as far as the scenario that I've come up with in my head, the shunter will come along and bring the yeah, the freight that we will be taking out of there. And who knows where it's set to go. Let's say it's set to go to Manchester. Why not? So we do have a speed reduction coming up, bringing us down to 60 in a mile and a half. So we'll coast for a bit. So I will want to be braking rather gradually. In a light engine, you really don't want to be slamming on the brakes pretty suddenly or pretty hard. Although, as one of my videos absolutely proves, you certainly wouldn't want to be doing that if you did, you know, have some wagons behind you, but they were all empty bogey bolsters. So Thirsk station is coming up. We'll just be heading straight through there. So yeah, I'm having to put brakes up to 32% just to really start slowing us down, and that is one of the real disadvantages of being a light engine. I mean, that AWS bell really sounds more like a fire alarm, but the audio, they did record it from an actual Class 20, so I have no reason at all to doubt that that is what the Class 20 AWS alert sounds like. So once we leave Thirsk, or rather once we've gone through Thirsk, we enter a 90 mph zone. This train can't do 90. I think its top rated speed is 75. Now, being a light engine, I'm sure we will be able to go beyond 75. I don't know how far beyond it, but it certainly presents an opportunity to find out. As was always the case with the Class 20s, plenty of smoke coming out of there. You'd almost think it was a steam train. So yeah, we go through Thirsk station there. But I do like the fact that because we've chosen a freight run, it is treating us as a freight train. It's putting us all on the outside lines. So let's go right up to the max. Acceleration has really tailed off once we're into the 70s, so we're at 73.3. Not sure we are going to be able to get the 75, or at least not without a real struggle. Here we have a curve. Now, it is a fairly gentle one. I think we'll be okay. But I've eased off the throttle a bit just to make sure. Yeah, so on the straight again. Let's take it back up. Can we get any trackside views? That's what I'm really hoping for. Yeah, don't look like it. But yeah, as you just heard there, we actually get audible AWS warnings. It's not going to. Audible AWS warnings while we are in exterior views. Such an obvious feature, and yet the DTG trains and even the vast majority of Armstrong Powerhouse trains don't have it. So yeah, it's just occurred to me, I'm looking around, yeah, we've not had one of the is it GSM, the cab radio systems. We've not even had one of those fitted retroactively, despite the fact that, I mean, we're in a GBR freight livery 20 here, so you would have thought that they would have added one, but nope, not here. So it looks very much like 73.5 is our max speed. We have a speed reduction coming up, only down to 70. We can probably coast that. That's certainly what we're going to try and do anyway. Yeah, we only need to lose, what, 2 miles an hour, so yeah, I'm sure we'll manage that just fine. So, as has often been the case with this route, it is rather sparse as far as the detailing, but as I've said every time it's appeared, this is a free route. It covers a huge area. I'm okay with the fact that yeah, the detailing is sparse. So we're well within the 70 mph speed limit now. We do have a further reduction coming up, down to 50 in just over 1.5 miles. So we'll continue to coast. And that 50 looks like it's a set of points which is going to yeah, take us off the East Coast main line and sets us actually on our way to T's dock itself. So I think we will pass T's yard on the way, which is where we stopped in the Class 60. And yeah, this time we will actually go to where we were supposed to be going in that video, if I hadn't made such a total balls up of it. So we've got a bit of a tight turn here. Okay, it's not as tight as I thought it was going to be. We need to brake faster than this. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, we've managed it. Just. We're in the 50 zone. Goes up to 60 fairly soon, but then it goes down to 40. We are approaching an uphill climb, so hopefully that will result in us losing speed. We won't need the brake for that 40 zone. In fact, I'm sure of it. It's still 1.5 miles away. We only need to lose another 8 miles an hour. So as always, whenever I use these freeware routes or freeware locos, I will put a link to the route if you want to download it, or at the very least check to see if you have all the requirements for it. It doesn't need any Armstrong Powerhouse stuff or Just Train stuff. It's all stuff you can get from Steam. So if you don't have everything that you need for this route, well, you got a few weeks before the next Steam sale. The next one starts on December the 18th, but yeah, once that day comes along, grab whatever you are missing. I know there's a few bits that I will certainly be getting when that sale comes along. Okay, we are going to have to start braking a bit here. Release the brakes too early. There we go. So this 40 section must be for this relatively tight turn or curve. In fact, we are going this slowly. I think we'll be okay. So into a 60 zone, we'll take it up to 55, you know, where that other speed, well, it was, as far as the line speed is concerned, it is a speed decrease. But for us, yeah, it's an increase. There you go. Need to brake here for this 50 zone. This 55 section we're now in is fairly short, so yeah, we're now fine for the 50 zone as well. So about a mile and a half, and then we can go back up to 70, which, as we've seen, is very nearly top speed for us. Even with only 6% throttle, we're accelerating a lot quicker than I thought we would be. So this 70 zone is pretty much right on top of us. Here we are, so I think we can start accelerating a bit now. And the amount of smoke pouring out of this thing, and yet that's with the engine coasting. So you know what we've got to do? We've got to let the speed drop a bit so we can then put it in a 100% throttle, and then we'll check just how much Greta Thunberg will hate this thing when it's really churning it out. Ground is completely flat. Also, I hadn't noticed, yeah, we weren't completely coasting. We did have 6% throttle. I don't think that's going to make a huge amount of difference. I'll tell you what, let's bring the speed down a bit by braking some. So if we bring our speed down to about 45, and then we'll pick it up. Okay. Right, let's see how it does now. Not a huge difference, but we do get trackside view at last. And there, yeah, okay, yeah, you can see quite a difference. Oh, another trackside view. So yeah, in fact, the smoke coming out, the diesel fumes and that are pretty constant throughout. Oh well. So Yarm Station coming up in a mile and a half. I think that's only the second station we've gone through, isn't it? But then we are actually following a freight route here. So yeah, it will be sending us, you know, at every chance away from the main passenger lines. here comes Yarm Station. Not the most memorable of stations there. Quite the amount of wobbling there. Let's reduce the throttle while that's still going on. Okay, right now. Okay, let's not throttle up because we have a speed reduction to 50 coming up in just over a mile and a half, as I'm sure you guessed. So, Eagles Cliff, next station we are approaching. We're certainly going to need to start braking ourselves. There we go, so we're fine now. Yeah, here we are at Eagles Cliff Station, and I've been there. There have been a few times where I have come in from those other lines that have just joined us from the left. So quite a few speed changes coming up. So one of these, presumably the 50, could well be going over points. Yeah, there's the junction display. So, yeah, sending us down this particular route. So the signals should be back to green again by now. So into the 45 zone, got a 35 mph limit coming up, and then that's fairly swiftly followed by a 20 mph speed limit as we approach Thornaby Station. So presumably that river we just crossed is the Tees. So crawling along now at 20 mph. So here we are at Thornaby Station. Red light. Both those red lights are for other lines. We're okay. So into a 35 zone. And now into 50. So yeah, start getting some reasonable speed up now. Although not for long. Back down to 20 again in I think that's my first speeding error of the run. Just over 7.5 miles away from doing the whole thing. I really thought I was going to do a clean run this time. No, not to be. So it's not really worth us accelerating because, yeah, we've got to go down not just to 45, we've got to go down to 20 again. I think, well, I was going to say I think that's where we are making the entrance into Tees Dock. But, yeah, we're still going to be about, you know, 6 miles away from the final destination. I mean, I know there is a lot of track around Tees Dock that we need to follow in order to get to, you know, the specific location within it. I don't think there's like 6 miles of it. I'm not sure what any of this lot is. I don't know if that's maybe a swing bridge or something. I've left the braking a bit late. I don't know if we're going to be okay. No, we are going to be speeding briefly. Actually, no, we've just about made it. That was close. So I have a feeling for the final 6 miles, 20 mph is our max speed. Yeah, so that line on the left there, I think that's predominantly the way out of T's dock. So, yeah, I mean, see the detail here all around the dockside buildings. Now, remind you again, this is a freeware route. So we have just over 5 miles to go, but our ETA says it's going to take us 20 minutes. So that tells you how slow we're going to be going for the vast majority of this. Certainly here this is very much an industrial sort of loco, no sound dampening at all, so when we're going over the joints in the rails, it's like, you know, the whole thing is shaking or rattling or whatever, you know. It's built to be purely functional. There are no creature comforts of any kind for the drivers of these things. I am rather surprised, to put it mildly, that there's a 60 mph section coming up. And if that is genuine, I somehow doubt it will last very long. We have a football ground coming here. Who is it? It plays at the Riverside Stadium. That is Middlesbrough, isn't it? So T's Dock, I'm pretty sure that is Middlesbrough. So we are into the 60 mph zone, so let's get some speed up. Make the most of it. So down to 25 again in just over a mile. Start applying some sort of brakes. Brakes on the Class 20 are not fantastic at the best of times, but certainly not when it's a light engine. I mean, it could be the brakes I'm using, because they have two braking systems. One is vacuum. I can't remember what the other is, but I don't think I'm using the vacuum brakes, and they are the weaker brake system of the two. The other thing is I still have train brakes selected, and really, because it is a light engine, I could just use the loco brakes. In fact, probably I should be using the loco brakes. So yeah, passing cement works there. All very heavily industrialised where we are here. Well, I mean, it's Middlesbrough, of course it is. that section there, I mean, it looks a bit like a mine. Also looks a bit like a refinery, and I don't know if either of those industries are around in this part of the country. So yeah, in a mile we have a 10 mph limit. As we are moved into position for the specific siding, take a look at yeah, so we're not too far away from it, but if we zoom out, this is the whole area that this route covers. That's where we started. So these pipes here running next to us, I think that's where stuff like LPG and that is transferred from the ships bringing it in to wherever the storage areas are. But yeah, for fairly obvious reasons, they are kept at a fair old distance away from the rest of the port. T's dock siding 1 is fast approaching it. Well, it was on the route display. So a fairly large mound of coal there. So now we are really crawling along. We turn down this branch. Well, branch, whatever it is you want to call it. These sidings, I suppose. But the replacement loco for their broken down whatever it was has arrived. Let's hope that whatever it was that broke down, yeah, let's hope it wasn't a class 66, because they've got a class 20 here to replace it. It's not exactly like for like. I did not see that downhill section there, 1 in 120 downhill. As if this wasn't enough of a pain. I have a feeling this is like this all the way. Oh, no it ain't. Well, I'm not sorry to see that. So this is T's Dock Potash siding that's coming up. But we want T's Dock FLT siding 1. I think... No, they're not the same, because that's saying it's 0.45 away. And we are 0.76 away from... let's take a look. So, yeah, here we are. So, potash siding 1, yeah, is not where we want to be going. Looks like we've got a red light up ahead here. Oh, let's see what happens anyway. Right, that's the end of the line, so I think we are going to need to change the points ourselves. So siding 1 is his topmost one. So I think that is okay. Although this does not suggest it is. Right, try this again. So here we are, right. There we go. Right. That looks better. There we are, T's Dock FLT siding 1. On this 1 in 100. I was doing really well on this run until we got to basically the T's Dock area, and then it all went to tits. That should turn us up here. There we go. And we can stop anywhere within the yellow section. So while we are into position, the shunters are probably getting the actual freight consist all sorted out for us and bringing, well, I say bringing it over, we would certainly have to yeah, come out of here and turn before they could move the freight in. In fact, they would probably put the freight on the line next to us. So we would just, yeah, we would turn round and then rejoin that line, and we'd be all set to take it to wherever the hell it is going. So there we are, So that was York North Yard to Tees Dock, essentially York to Middlesbrough, but very much freight run, even though yeah we were in a light engine. So it was actually a lot more straightforward than I thought. It helped that yeah, being on the East Coast main line for a lot of the run meant we were just going in a completely straight line. Nothing to worry about as far as any tight curves or anything. So it really wasn't all that tricky. Or at least it certainly wasn't as tricky as I was expecting it to be. But I did still pick up, yeah, 3 speeding errors, and they were all in pretty quick succession all around Tees Dock itself. The journey to Tees Dock was fine, no problem. But the main thing about that is, yeah, I got to drive and to show the GBRf liveried Class 20, which is certainly a favourite of mine. So there we go, that is that video done, and we will see you at the next one.